All right, here's a quick follow-up to what we were doing last night with the chord tone, stars, pointing this way and that. And I wanted to answer Beth's question as far as a show and tell. What am I really doing when I'm thinking about chords? And how's an easy way to visualize the different chords that happen? So the easiest way to visualize a chord is in a stack of notes, from low notes up to high notes. Certain notes good, certain notes bad. So the first chord, although we're not starting on this chord in Elk River Blues, first chord we want to talk about is the one chord. The one chord is, in our case, D major. Anytime you have a one chord, its chord tones are going to line up with what are called the scale degrees. So when you start on scale degree number 1, that's going to be the root of the one chord. So when we say a chord has a 1, 3, and 5, in the case of our one chord, its chord tones are also going to be scale degrees 1, 3, and 5. But keep track. Those are two different indexes or levels that you think on, because the major scale comes up with all the notes that we will use, but later on we're going to say that the chords themselves have chord tones, and those tones, it's easier to think of those as 1, 3, 5 no matter what your chord is. So soon those will shift. But let's start on the one chord. So what's easiest to do is to think about the triad. So if you find the root of your chord, which in this case is our one chord, so that means D, so that's the note D. We start there and we make a pattern of 1, 3, 5. That's what we have on the first line here, where there's a little bracket. That's called the triad, where you start the stack with the root of whatever chord you're on. So 1, 3, 5. And then in fact, we have another one. 1, 3, 5. And then let's go backwards. 5, 3, 1. 5, 3, 1. And in fact, there's one additional chord tone available to us, which is in this case the 5. And in this chord, that's an A note. A, D. That would be D major triads or arpeggio. One long series is called an arpeggio. A triad is just a little chunk of 3 tones that start on the root, 3rd, 5th. That was not right. Root, 3rd, 5th. 5th root, da 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 da. That would be taps starting on 5. Okay, so now we leave the idea of scale degree behind. You'll notice on the wheels for each of these chords, they're pointing at different scale degrees in the major key. So those numbers don't line up. But we're going to play the 1, 3, and 5 of a G chord. So as soon as we find a G note, we know that that's a root of this chord. And then we can make a triad. So we go. Next pitch would be B. So 1, 3, 5. And then that's a triad. We have the next octave. And then we even get 2 more notes. And that's 1, 3, 3. Backwards. 3, 1, 5, 3, 1, 5, 3, 1. Each note I'm hitting is a point on the star. We're just going around that wheel. So 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. But on the level of the chord. Okay, let's move on to the A chord. So now our root of our chord is going to be an A note or an A pitch. Let's find a nice low one. We'll work our way up. So we start on A. Now watch out. This pitch right here is tricky. High 3 on the G string to make a C sharp pitch. So 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. And we get the bonus. 1. That's all in terms of chord tones. So that 1 I'm saying up top, well, now that's an A note, but that's because we're on an A chord. So those are chord tones. And then if I put a big chunk of them in a stack, now I'm making a chord. So that's 1. I can't grab C sharp with my nose there. So we're going to skip to E, A, E. So I've got A and E covered. Ah, there's a C sharp on the A string with second finger. And that's a C sharp note. Now I got 1, 3, and 5 all covered. And a bonus A note for the top. A nice soprano voice. And that right there is a change to a D chord where I'm playing still a low A note. So you see that's scale degree 5. The very first line, the very first pitch. And then I'm going to skip D because I want to put an F sharp note on that string. So there's an F sharp note, which is our scale degree 3. So there's 5, 3. And then all the way up top, we have a D note in the soprano voice. And that makes a chord. So we got 1, 1, 3, 5. That is not a triad. That is some open voicing. The triad, the notes are close together. But you can't, well, actually, you can play all those notes at the same time. There's another nice D major triad. Notes close together. Notes far apart, and chord change. Okay, folks, hope this helps. Thanks for watching.